Kaporos is a ritual, an atonement ritual, in which a chicken is swung overhead and slaughtered in place of a person for the person's sins. The practitioners believe their sins go into the chicken, and they are supposed to watch the chicken being killed by a shochet, a ritual slaughterer. And they're supposed to think, that could be me. I have to be careful not to sin because that's what could happen to me. And the passage that they say is that this chicken will go to his or her death, and I will go to a long and happy life. It's not in the Torah, it's not in the Talmud, it's in Shulchan Aruch, which is the code of Jewish law, and when it was written in that book, it was referred to by Rabbi Cairo as a foolish custom. It's only many years later that people started to adopt it as something that was acceptable. But the reason it doesn't make sense, aside from the obvious cruelty, which violates Sar Ba'alei Chaim, the Torah mandate not to cause unnecessary suffering to animals, it also violates multiple mandates and imperatives in the Torah and Talmud, and the way it's practiced in Brooklyn, it violates 15 city and state laws. This ritual can be done with a sack of money, which can be donated to charity, which is a beautiful way to do it. So while you're swinging it, the sack of money, you are thinking about the sins you've committed, the wrongs you've done, and you want to right them by donating the money to charity.
This next short clip is created by Their Turn.
This is Kaporos. Kaporos.
I understand it's a tradition, no offense. But what is the offense for these poor chickens? Hello? Tzar B'Lechaim, cruelty for animals is forbidden by the Torah. I do not tolerate this. I'm sorry. If this is a tradition, let's keep humanity within tradition. So these chickens are going to starve out the night. This is a problem. Tzar B'Lechaim. Protest.
We saw this chicken drooling and tried to bring them out to give them some fluids. And the chicken just now passed. They're still warm. The body is still radiating so much heat right now.
You cannot open any crate. That belongs to me. You cannot open any crate. You open one more crate, you're being arrested.
Can you escort me out? He's not drinking. He's not drinking.
Stay here.
This animal is dying.
We negotiated that you could give them water.
Water, give me water.
last night in Williamsburg was particularly difficult and brutal. I just can't get this one bird out of my mind. I couldn't fall asleep last night thinking about this one chicken who was being held by a grown man. He held this chicken by the wings for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and the poor chicken was able to see all his colleagues being sliced up. The chicken knew what was coming, and it was awful. I had to walk away for a few minutes. I've never had to do that before. That poor bird knew exactly what was coming and was crying.
This is for Yom Kippur. Basically, the ritual is they take a chicken, they'll wave the chicken over their head while citing a prayer. And this is to transfer their sins into the chicken, so when they murder the chicken, the sins die with the chicken. We're here trying to help the chickens as much as we can. We're going to give them some water and watermelon. I know these past few days, activists have been trying to negotiate rescues with the individuals who are practicing the Kaporos ritual.
Foot, so clearly they want to say they're being humane in any way. This foot was likely dragged off as they were shifting the crates. Oh God, another one? There's nothing humane about this.
Body parts, blood, and other unidentifiable matter. These are all health violations. There's no ventilation inside. There's no visible permit allowing the erection or operation of these kill sites. There's carcass left on public spaces. There's standing water, and the runoff from the killing is entering our sewers. We don't even know if they have any license or permit to have these birds in their possession.
And also giving them water.
You needed more? Oh, you're on it already? All right.
You have attended and you have captured some footage. You would know that there's excrement, fecal matter.
I know, babies.
Their babies, they're between 5 and 7 weeks old.
Take as much as you want, please. You got plenty. This is
We are being kicked out right now.
We are being kicked out now because they're saying it is private property. They're threatening to call the police.
Hey, give me the bag. You think I don't give you watermelon? What does it look like? What does it look like?
There's excrement.
Huh? What do you think? I'm okay. Yalla. Violation? You can show me the violation, please?
Excrement. All this excrement on a public space, on a sidewalk. Okay. PPE. There's no PPE, only open masks, no gloves, no protective gear. The animals are being held by their wings behind their backs, further causing fractures. That is an animal cruelty violation. They're being held in this way for long extended. Further animal cruelty violations. As you can see, they are riding in chains. There's blood, excrement, body parts, feces all in this public space here.
You guys in Williamsburg too, they say. I'm a soldier, I like animals, I'm not a murderer, okay? This is not a problem. What does it look like?
You like animals?
I like animals. I have 2 dogs.
Are you taking care of them?
Of course.
Do you see that they're smashed in a cage?
I give them all the time food.
No, but my question...
When you came here, you don't see watermelon inside?
But did you answer my question? I'll answer your question, you answer mine.
Because I don't understand very well English. So
sure. Do you think that they are smashed in a cage here?
Listen.
Honestly, just be honest. Listen,
you're a vegetarian?
No. I'm vegan. I'm vegan.
You're vegan.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is your choice.
Right. What about their choice?
This is your choice.
So what about their choice?
Like do a
hierarchy. Yeah. But listen, brother,
yeah. How much people eat meat? And
but you didn't answer my
how much
question.
people? Okay, so if
hold on, answer my question, then I'll answer your question.
No
Otherwise,
problem.
it could be all
What
day.
is your question?
Do you not see them smashed in a cage? Do you think this is? Would you say you have dogs? Yeah.
2 dogs.
Would you put your dogs in a cage like this? Look how many chickens. How many chickens are in one?
Like you got like
You see this? You see this on the bottom? You know what this is from? They're supposed to have feathers, correct? You know why this is gone? Burn from your body. From acid.
I know, listen,
Come on, man.
listen, that's exactly what I told you. I walk in, but for me it's hard to see that. I swear, I'm not joking.
You don't have to do Kaporos with chickens. You know this.
Huh?
You do not have to do Kaporos with
I do
chickens. You know
I
this.
do Kaporos on money.
Right, brother, so this is fucking horrible.
This is my work, okay. This is my
I
stuff.
understand. This
It's
is
like
my
it's
work.
like hey, it's like I'm a soldier in Israel.
Yeah,
okay, he put me in Gaza. I can do nothing. I'm a soldier. Okay, exactly. I'm here. I'm the manager. I get order.
Yeah.
I do the order.
So that's it. So then you respect the orders that I'm getting.
I respect everybody here.
Yeah. So,
My friend is vegan. I
so
don't
you
have a
understand
problem.
why we're here.
Of course I understand.
listen, if you
but
love-
when
if you love
when I come to your guy and I speak to him, I told him I came in peace. And like he don't move like the hey hello what's up like you came to me. So he didn't respect because this is a property like you understand that it's a property of like
Understood.
this is the place.
Yeah.
No, I'm coming peace. I
So
swear.
then let me ask you a question. If you're coming in peace, you know what we do with them?
You want to buy him? It's not mine. If it was mine, it's another story.
Then,
It's not
so then we
mine.
don't have a lot to talk about.
Okay, so no problem.
Yeah, so we come in peace.
No
right?
problem. Here stop my mama. It's like I came, if you work in the bank, and I come with all my friends, so you understand I'm the manager here, and you fucked up my fucking work. So I'm sorry. Do you see some murder here? No. Yeah, show me.
There's a dead bird over here. I can show you.
Okay. So one dead on 100. Why you didn't see like when you go to the street or whatever, when you see a bird on the street, you say something to the car. Yalla. Yalla.
Focus. Keep your focus on the birds.
Yeah. Give him food.
You won't have conversations with us. We'll be out of here soon.
No problem.
Let's end it here.
I respect that.
No, we don't even
That's
need,
exactly what I
so
said.
we don't even need that, sir.
And when I came
So
to
let's-
someone
so
and I
let's
talked
end
with
it.
them, he didn't like look at me and you are in my property. Like what the fuck? Come.
Keep it on the birds. No response, myself included. I'm checking it on that. Thank you all. Thank you, Ella.
Guess what? Take one and I'll go away.
You can buy in 13.
No, we're not. We just...
Okay, so you can. It's not mine.
What?
No. Now you just קופסה אחרת.
This is money instead of chickens. We are not attacking any community or any culture or any people. We are trying to rather spread and encourage Look.
5-minute warning, 5 more minutes, guys. Thank you so much. Please do not engage. We are here for 5 more minutes.
The birds are displaying signs of respiratory illness. They are panting.
Bird is having trouble breathing. it's too hot. They look like they're totally worn out.
All right, guys, we're pulling out right now.
But then this one over here has a completely severed toe. Watch out, one side. We lifted the crate up and then he pulled his toe out. It's completely, this one right here is completely severed.
The thing is, they
have two birds. Love to hear it.
Coach, we gotta go.
There's no excuse to abuse other living individuals with their own desires because it doesn't exist.
Let's get your friends here. Let's go.
All right, thank you all so much. Hold on just one moment.
Anyone can take photos of you. Hold them by the body, please.
Shalom.
Stop abusing animals. There's absolutely no justification, logically or morally, that can be articulated to condone the actions of abusing animals. It doesn't exist. They're individuals and they have liberties and desires, and their inherent liberties aren't ours to strip away from them. There's no justification to do that. It's immoral. Actually, a book called Eternal Treblinka, Our Treatment of Animals and the Holocaust by Charles Patterson. And it's filled with survivors, and they are talking about the domestication of animals, how in early Mesopotamia, they actually would enslave the male animals and the female animals, and they would castrate the males and use the reproductive systems of the female animals. And then when they started capturing human slaves, they used the exact same practices. They even referred to the male slaves as the same name they referred to the male animal slaves. They've been castrated, and they learned how to alter their reproductive systems and control them and use them based off of those same practices they did to the animals. Once we do these practices to living individuals who aren't consenting to this and having their liberties revoked, people have actually used those same strategies and tactics to enslave other human beings. There's no excuse for this. There's no logical or justification for this. And there was even a story, a survivor of the Holocaust, and he remembers seeing his parents and his family be separated from him and sent into gas chambers right in front of him. When he saw non-human animals experience that, he saw a goose and she was getting her eggs taken away from her. When geese or other female animals get their eggs or their babies taken away from them, they're not okay with that. So when he saw that, he remembered when he was in that position as well and said, I was a goose too. And that's all in the book Eternal Treblinka by Charles Patterson. There's many accounts of different survivors and our treatment of animals and how that's developed throughout history.
Engage in our outreach. We have to always be mindful of what we're doing, mindful of our presence, and mindful of our goals and whether our actions are actively working towards or against that. I want to say thank you again, one and all.
It was completely different from last year. Last year they were very sympathetic, and there was one guy in particular who we negotiated with to release about 20 birds, and he did. He, from what I understand, got in trouble, and I don't see him this year, so I imagine he was fired. This year was particularly brutal. We saw one bird cannibalizing a live bird who was downed. The bird couldn't move. The bird was panting and suffering, and this other bird was eating him alive. We saw two birds with their feet lopped off from the rough handling of the crates, and birds with their toes cut off. It was just brutal. The whole thing is, but I mean, this was particularly bad. It's also extremely hot in there. And when they're stuffed into these crates, 12 to 18 birds per crate, sometimes more, and then stacked on top of that, it's even hotter for them. It's just awful, awful. All the birds are covered with feces and feathers and blood and pus.
I feel devastated and outraged. And I think that the best thing we can do to channel what we're feeling is to take the best course of action, which is to file complaints. Slaughter Free NYC has written in great detail what the health, animal cruelty, and labor violations are. We're in this for the long haul, so we need to be strategic. We cannot target any one community. We must channel our energy productively by filing all complaints to 311. All violations are applicable to every site for every single day. So please file those complaints to 311 and then forward the service request number to info@slaughterfreenyc.com. The governor recently signed the renewal of a bill prohibiting agriculture markets from issuing new licenses to operate a slaughterhouse or any slaughter sites, but these are all makeshift slaughter sites. You're with us, right?
We'll meet at triage.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go together.
Okay, so we're going to triage now, but please follow those complaints. There's animal cruelty, in which they are held without sustenance. They are being handled. They could at the very least, be held properly with their wings to their body. Instead, they're holding them with their wings behind their back. That causes further fractures and damage to their already broken bodies. And of course, the workers' violations, they are not given any adequate PPE, if any. Sometimes they have to bring their own. There's no ventilation in these makeshift sites. There's no drainage system because, of course, they're not built to be slaughterhouses. They're basically pitching tents, that's it. Follow Slaughter Free on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Join our mailing list, slaughterfreenyc.com. File those complaints to 311 and to agriculture markets and forward their service request numbers to us. That's all we can do. File complaints. That's the best action we can take. File complaints.
Meet me on Nostrand Avenue where it meets out.
So we're here again trying to rescue birds, save birds, and it's really challenging. You know, you see stacks and stacks and stacks of birds just drenched in their own excrement, dying. We saw a couple of them, their feet were clipped off because they go through the cages. For me, it's so sad because I always think like the people that should know about compassion, about not enslaving others more than any other people are these folks. It's really challenging. You could hear them booing and all that. It's sad because they have an opportunity. And the worst part about it is it doesn't need to be done. This could be done with plants and seeds and money. And then the other part that's horrible is like these are massive violations that the city is not doing anything about. Look, I got a friggin' mask and a screen and everything. And this area recently had a huge spike in coronavirus. So pandemics, almost 80% of pandemics come from our use and abuse of animals. We have an opportunity at this point in our life, humanity aside from Kaporos, I think we're failing it again. I think Mother Nature might have given us the last warning that she's gonna give us. I'm sure the Hasids are not watching this, so there's nothing I can say to them, but if they are, please, just do the right thing. This is cruelty, man.
Phonetically.
Say it again.
Tsar Baalei Chaim. There's a Breslov Hasidic rabbi by the name of Yonasan Gershom who wrote a whole book encouraging people to use money instead of chickens. He's very much opposed to the use of chickens in the ritual. But people don't want to listen to him because he's not their rabbi or he's not of their sect, which is another problem. They're yanked by their very delicate wings, and many times the wings break. They're swung, and then they're given to a shochet, a slaughterer, and after they get their throat slit, they're thrown into upside-down cones to drown on their own blood, and it's a slow process. It's not a sweet, gentle ritual. Rabbi Eliyahu Soifer said during the panel that when he held up a chicken to do Kaporos, he felt the pain and fear of the bird go right down his arm, through his body, and he couldn't do it anymore. So to his credit, and I know he's a vegetarian, probably vegan, I first met him at a Mercy for Animals protest at Coney Island. It was the hot dog eating contest. That's where I met him, and he came out to protest. He's a lovely man, but he wasn't really describing the widespread way it's done accurately. Every religious person knows you can use money instead of chickens. It's just that they choose not to. They think it's a more visceral experience to hold a live bird. It's just ridiculous. It's superstition. To me, the whole concept of vicarious redemption is obscene. First of all, we should try not to do the wrong things and treat people badly. But if we do, we should try to correct them. We should try to right them in some way. Not expect some innocent creature to suffer for what we've done wrong. It's sickening.
Yeah, we tell children, be responsible for what you do. Own your shit. Right?
Exactly.
And so we were just saying, if I had some issues, if I had a big bag of problems, it's like you're handing it off to somebody else. It doesn't make you correct that you did it. It's like you're just handing it off.
Exactly.
Own your shit, take care of it, and don't give it to an innocent being. And then it's not worthy, so they slaughter it. It's like, my God, it's like one of the worst. It is a horrible ritual. It's not even, it would be bad to just kill an animal, but to like, not only gonna torture you, immeasurable pain and suffering, heat exhaustion, dehydration, but then we're gonna whip you around in this totally made up thing, not from the Torah, the Talmud, and then we're gonna magically suck the sins up, and then we're gonna stuff you back in the cage, and then we're gonna slaughter you. Oh, but wait a minute, we're not gonna even eat you, which is horrible enough. We're gonna just throw you in the garbage. I'm sure God would be like, so. I remember there was a great Gandhi quote that said, your Christ I like, your Christians I'm not so sure about. We screw up religion. If it's
any merit at all.
At all, thank you. I don't want to say
I
know
said
you
it
come
for
from.
you.
Look, I want to believe in stuff, but when I see stuff like this and then I read the books, it's like, wow, it's horrible.